On a day with heavy rain pouring down, Lily headed to the nearby store. While rushing to her destination, she spotted a small, soaked figure lying in a puddle. She stopped right away to get a closer look. It turned out to be a tiny baby monkey. Lily searched the area to check if the monkey had an owner nearby, but there was no one in sight. Without any hesitation, she gently picked up the shivering monkey and brought it along with her. As Lily picked up the monkey, she noticed that there was something wrong, but she didn't realize how bad it really was. Lily had to admit that she did not know much about monkeys, but even she could see that there was something off with this poor animal. But she could not put her finger on exactly what the problem was, which was also because her mind was mainly occupied with the question of what this monkey was even doing here in the first place. Monkeys were not native to the US at all, and as far as she knew, there was no zoo or exotic pet shop anywhere nearby. They were in the middle of the city center early in the morning. It was a surprise to her that nobody else had spotted this poor animal before, or maybe they did, and they just did not care. She carefully lifted the small, barely moving monkey off the cold, wet floor. Lily was looking around to see if anybody was taking notice of her, or if she maybe saw somebody else looking for the animal, but she saw nobody, just people going about their business, or trying to get to work. She was alone with this animal. The monkey was looking her straight in the eyes. It looked a bit scared and worried, but Lily could also swear that she detected some desperation in the animal. It needed help, and maybe the animal could feel like she was the only person who was going to be able to provide it. But now, Lily had to think what her best course of action was going to be. This monkey needed urgent care, that much was clear, and the only organization that could potentially provide that was a veterinarian clinic. Lily had no animals of her own. She did not know where one would be located. But luckily, Google is your best friend in situations like this, and Lily discovered that there was actually one fairly nearby. She wrapped the monkey in her warm sweater, hoping that that would make it feel a bit better, and got on the bus to the nearest vet. Seeing as it was early in the morning, the bus was starting to get packed with people on their way to work. Some of them took notice of the monkey. A couple of whispers went around, and suddenly Lily was the center of attention. People started to come up to her, asking why she had a monkey covered in blankets with her. Lily started to get a bit nervous because of this, as she was very much an introvert. She did not like strangers coming up to her or even taking notice of her. She stutteringly tried to explain that she found it on the ground and was bringing it to the vet, but that did not help in getting the people away from her. They were almost stepping over each other to get a look at the animal, which was obviously starting to get a bit scared with all these people trying to get to it. Lily had to make a decision here, but the vet was still a couple of stops away. She still got off the bus. It would be better to walk the final stretch. She was keeping the monkey out of sight for as much as she could, but she was unsuccessful in making herself look inconspicuous. People could see that she was hiding something from a mile away, and it did not help that her new monkey companion suddenly decided that it was not that comfortable in her wrapped sweater anymore. It started to struggle around a bit and was trying to free itself. It even managed to get its arms out, and people could now clearly see that something was going on and started to call out to Lily. For a moment, she started to debate why she was even doing this. She could just let the monkey free and go about her normal day again, let somebody else take care of this, but she was simply too deep into this now. She wanted to see it through to the end, and so she grabbed a hold of her sweater even tighter now and increased the pace in her step. This, of course, only made her look more suspicious, and some people had half a mind to go after her. To shout that she was taking it to the vet, which luckily seemed to help a bit for now. Stressed out and tired, she finally made her way into the veterinarian clinic. This was not how she had expected her day to go. In the vet's clinic, she was first greeted by a very kindly-looking receptionist, who asked her what she came for and if she had an appointment. Lily looked around the waiting room of the office and saw that it was already really busy. She was worried that she would have to wait a long time to be helped here, but what other choice did she have? She told the receptionist the whole story and showed her the monkey, and the eyes of the woman immediately went wide. She quickly went into the back to maybe get some advice on the situation. Lily figured that it was likely that the woman had never seen a monkey before either, but what Lily did not expect was that nobody here had ever worked on a monkey before. So, not long after, a vet came out and asked her to come into his office. Lily was allowed to skip the line, and people looked a bit annoyed at first, but they calmed down when they saw the monkey. Inside the vet's office, the air was still with anticipation. Dr. Harrow, with years of experience etched onto his face, stood before Lily, her hands clutching the shivering monkey. His eyes, usually full of answers, now reflected uncertainty. "I'm sorry," he began, his voice steady yet tinged with regret. "I've treated many creatures, but never a monkey. They require specialized care that I'm not equipped to provide." Lily's heart sank, but she held the gaze of the man who represented her fading hope. Noticing the despair in Lily's eyes, Dr. Harrow quickly rummaged through his desk drawers, pulling out a well-worn address book. "However, I can give you the contacts of colleagues who might be able to help," he offered, flipping through the yellowed pages. He jotted down a list of names and addresses on a piece of clinic letterhead, his handwriting a hurried scroll. Lily accepted the list, her fingers brushing against the paper, feeling the weight of each name as a beacon of hope for the little life depending on her. Lily stepped out of the clinic, the list folded neatly in her pocket. The initial shock of rejection had given way to a resolute spark within her. She glanced down at the bundle in her arms. The monkey's innocent eyes met hers, its tiny hand gripping her finger. The touch fueled her determination, a silent pledge passing between them. With a deep breath, she lifted her chin and stepped forward, her resolve as unyielding as the concrete beneath her feet. The city sprawled before her, indifferent to the drama unfolding in its midst. Lily moved through the streets, a sole figure on a mission, her mind replaying Dr. Harrow's words. Each step was a mix of hope and urgency, her eyes scanning building numbers and street signs. She felt the monkey's heartbeat against her own, a shared rhythm that underscored their journey. The city's cacophony faded into the background as Lily's focus narrowed to the quest at hand as the city awoke to its daily grind. Lily's quest was just beginning. She stood for a moment, the list in her hand, a tangible symbol of the path ahead. With the monkey now tucked securely against her, she began to navigate the concrete jungle. Her determination was palpable, her stride purposeful. The addresses on the list led her onward, each a potential haven for the tiny creature whose life had unexpectedly intertwined with her own. Lily's first stop, a small clinic nestled between towering buildings, seemed promising. But as she recounted her story, the vet shook his head. "Vet, I'm sorry, I don't have the facilities or the expertise for exotic animals." The disappointment in his voice mirrored Lily's own. With a polite nod, she turned away, the monkey still cradled in her arms. The day's first rejection stung, but she pushed on. Clinic after clinic, the responses were the same. "Vets, we can't help. It's too risky. We're not trained for this." Each refusal was a heavy brick added to Lily's burden. The monkey, unaware of the rejections, nestled deeper into the warmth of her hold. The doors of the city's veterinary offices closed one by one, but Lily's resolve did not falter. She was becoming the bridge over an ocean of no's. With each visit, Lily learned something new. She learned that exotic animals required special care, that not all vets were created equal, and that her city was ill-prepared for the likes of her new friend. This knowledge didn't solve her problem, but it did arm her with a deeper understanding. The city's labyrinth of care for animals was complex, but she navigated it with growing expertise and unwavering commitment. The search took her beyond her usual haunts, into neighborhoods she had only heard of in passing. She visited clinics that were mere specks on the city's map, explained her situation to vets who displayed varying degrees of sympathy and helplessness. The monkey seemed to sense her anxiety, occasionally peeking out with curious eyes that begged for comfort. Lily's circle of search widened, as did her appreciation for the vastness of the city and its myriad lives. The sun dipped low, painting the sky with strokes of orange and purple as Lily reached the end of her list. The city, with its endless streams of people, seemed to move around her in a blur. Exhaustion clawed at her edges, but the weight of the tiny life she carried fueled her forward. Today had been a day of dead ends. Yet as she looked into the monkey's trusting eyes, her spirit did not break. Tomorrow, she promised silently, they would try again. Weariness hung on Lily like a heavy coat as she entered the pet store to gather supplies for the monkey. The air was a mix of seed, sawdust, and the chirp of caged birds. She spoke softly to the clerk about her fruitless quest when a voice piped up from the end of the aisle. "Did you say monkey?" A woman with a vibrant parrot perched on her shoulder approached, her expression a blend of curiosity and concern. "I might know just the person to help," she said as the parrot bobbed its head. The parrot owner, with her avian companion still nodding along, scribbled down a name and address. "Dr. Llewellyn. He's a bit of a maverick, but he's the best with exotics," she explained. The name was unfamiliar to Lily, but it was the most promising lead she had. She clutched the paper, feeling a renewed sense of direction, and the parrot squawked as if in approval of the new adventure they were about to embark upon. Stepping out of the pet store, Lily felt a lightness she hadn't felt since the monkey came into her care. The possibility of help, of a vet who could really do something, seemed to lift some of the burden from her shoulders. The monkey seemed to sense the change, its small body relaxing slightly in Lily's secure hold. Together, they walked back into the city's embrace, a spark of hope guiding their way. The address led them to the outskirts, where the city's relentless pace yielded to a more languid tempo. The journey was long, and the distance weighed on Lily, but each step was buoyed by the hope that help was near. The buildings thinned out, giving way to stretches of open land and sky, and Lily felt as if they were walking into a different world, a world where her monkey might finally find relief. The clinic, when it finally came into view, was a modest building set against the backdrop of the sprawling city's edge. It was here, at the end of a long day and an even longer journey, that Lily hoped to find sanctuary for her small charge. With the monkey wrapped close against the chill of the evening, she approached the entrance. The sign above the door read, "Dr. Llewellyn Exotic Animal Care." Taking a deep breath, she crossed the threshold, stepping into a new chapter of their story. Lily stood in front of her friend Jenna's house, her story pouring out in a rush. Jenna, with keys in hand, didn't hesitate. "Take my car," she said, her voice firm with friendship. As Lily placed the monkey, now wrapped in a fresh blanket, into the safety of the back seat, she was struck by the generosity that this journey was revealing at every turn. With the monkey secured, she started the car. The engine, the path ahead clear and waiting, the car hummed along the road. The city's skyline shrinking behind them, Lily sneaked glances at the monkey through the rearview mirror, its eyes peering back with a quiet curiosity. She played soft music, and to her amazement, the monkey's gentle movements seemed to keep time with the melody. In the confined space of the car, the distance between human and animal shrank, replaced by a warm sense of shared existence. At a stoplight, Lily reached back to adjust the monkey's blanket and felt a tiny hand touch hers. The connection was electric, a shared moment that spoke of trust and understanding. She spoke gently to the monkey, and it responded with soft chirps and curious tilts of the head. Each interaction was a stitch in the fabric of their growing bond, moments that Lily would later realize were the beginnings of an unexpected friendship. During the drive, the monkey exhibited a startling intelligence. It solved the little puzzles Lily offered with surprising ingenuity, using its fingers with precision and care. It watched her actions intently, learning quickly, its dark eyes shining with a sharp awareness. The monkey's ability to adapt and understand touched Lily profoundly, reshaping her idea of the small creature as a mere passenger to that of a fellow traveler on this road. As they arrived at the outskirts of the city where Dr. Llewellyn's clinic stood, Lily felt a mix of relief and anticipation. She had come to see the monkey not just as a responsibility, but as a companion who had shared in her journey's trials and triumphs. Together, they stepped out of the borrowed car, the setting sun casting long shadows on the ground. With the monkey nestled against her, Lily approached the clinic's entrance, ready to face what awaited them with newfound courage and an ally by her side. The clinic was a sanctuary of calm and order. Dr. Llewellyn's presence was commanding, his eyes reflecting a history of complex cases. As he greeted Lily and her companion, his gaze settled on the monkey with a precision that spoke of deep expertise. Yet beneath his professional composure, Lily could sense his concern. It hung in the air, unspoken, yet as tangible as the weight of the monkey in her arms. Dr. Llewellyn's hands were steady as he examined the monkey, his touch gentle but assured. He took his time, his scrutiny thorough, assessing the animal from its damp fur to its tiny curled toes. Lily watched, her hands wringing the strap of her bag as the vet's brow furrowed with each minute that passed. His silence was a language of its own, filled with words he wasn't yet ready to share. With each test he performed, Dr. Llewellyn's demeanor grew more serious, his face a mask hiding a storm of concern. Lily tried to read his expression, to glean some understanding of what he might be thinking, but his professionalism gave nothing away. She remained in the dark, her own worry a growing shadow that mirrored the vet's hidden apprehension. The clinic's clock ticked loudly, marking the passage of time as Lily sat in the waiting area. The monkey, now in the care of Dr. Llewellyn, was out of sight, leaving Lily with nothing but her thoughts and the sterile smell of antiseptic. She tapped her foot, each thump a heartbeat of anxiety. The wait for answers stretched on, each second a thread in the fabric of an uncertain future. Dr. Llewellyn emerged occasionally, his face unreadable as he passed through the waiting room. Lily searched his face for clues, for any sign of the monkey's condition, but found none. The air was thick with unspoken tension, the vet's concern a silent storm behind his eyes. Lily felt a tightness in her chest, a combination of fear and the strain of not knowing, of being on the precipice of a reality she was not yet invited to understand. In a quiet room adjacent to the clinic's hustle, Lily sat by the monkey, now swaddled in a soft blanket on a small examination bed. She stroked its head gently, whispering words of comfort that bridged the gap between species. As Dr. Llewellyn worked in the next room, Lily found herself embodying the role of caregiver, her presence a constant source of reassurance to the ailing animal. Her hand became a comforting presence, each stroke a silent promise of protection and care, a vigil held with the quiet intensity of a guardian angel. As hours melded into the rhythm of the clinic, the weight of responsibility settled on Lily's shoulders. She absorbed knowledge from the staff, the diet, the signs of distress, and the gentle handling of her monkey. Patient, the complexities of caring for such a delicate life dawned on her. Each detail a thread in the intricate tapestry of responsibility she had woven around herself. This new understanding was both empowering and daunting, as she realized the journey ahead would demand more from her than she ever anticipated. Each time Lily looked into the monkey's eyes, she saw a reflection of her growing attachment. It was no longer just a quest to save a life. It had become a heartfelt commitment. The monkey's soft, plaintive sounds at night tugged at her, and she responded with a lullaby or a soothing touch. Their bond, fragile at first, had solidified into a deep, nurturing connection. With each day passing, the silent communication between them grew richer, creating an unspoken language of empathy and understanding. One morning, the monkey's condition took a downturn. Its once lively eyes grew dull, and its small body trembled with fever. Dr. Llewellyn moved with swift precision, his every action targeted to stabilize his little patient. Lily's heart raced with fear, but she forced calm into her voice as she cooed to the monkey, her hands providing a warm, steady presence amidst the sterile chill of the clinic. The stark beeps of the monitors became the backdrop to a scene of quiet determination as Lily clung to the hope that each passing minute was a step toward recovery. As the monkey battled sickness, Lily's resolve only strengthened. She became a fixture at the clinic, her spirit unwavering, her dedication evident to all who passed through. Her journey had transformed her from a bystander to a guardian, her resolve as steadfast as the very walls of the clinic. She was determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead, her commitment to the monkey's well-being an unbreakable vow. In the dim light of the room, with shadows dancing across the walls, Lily's silent oath to safeguard this fragile life echoed with the force of an ancient creed. The vet's office, once a place of hopeful solutions, became a somber ground as the monkey's condition worsened. It clung to life, each breath a whisper of its struggle. Lily, ever present, felt each setback as her own. The vibrant creature that had looked at her with such intelligent eyes was now listless, its small form barely moving. This critical turn of events tested Lily's resolve as she watched over the monkey, her heart aching with every shallow breath it took. Lily's days and nights merged into a continuous vigil by the monkey's side. Sleep became a stranger to her, elusive and sporadic, as she maintained her watch. The clinic's soft nighttime lights cast long shadows, the beeps of machines punctuating the silence. She was steadfast, her hand often resting gently on the monkey, providing a silent message of companionship through the small hours of vulnerability and concern. As days passed, the reality of caring for an exotic animal became starkly clear. The financial strain was tangible, bills mounted as new treatments and medications were tried. But more than the monetary cost, it was the emotional toll that weighed heavily on Lily. The highs and lows of the monkey's uncertain prognosis, the roller coaster of hope and despair, began to take their toll on her once inexhaustible spirit. Dr. Llewellyn, his face etched with the fatigue of long hours, finally sat down with Lily. "Dr. Llewellyn, we've done all we can. It might be time to consider a sanctuary that can provide long-term care." His advice was both a lifeline and a deep cut, offering a chance for the monkey's survival, but at the distance of separation. Lily listened, her mind wrestling with the thought of letting go. The vet's words echoed in Lily's mind long after their conversation had ended. She looked into the monkey's vulnerable eyes, pondering the difficult choices ahead. Letting go meant proper care, but it also meant saying goodbye. The harsh reality of her limitations as a caregiver clashed with the fierce protectiveness she felt. As she stroked the monkey's head, the thought of parting was unbearable, yet she knew it was a decision she might have to face. The steady rhythm of the monkey's breathing brought a cautious relief to the clinic. It had stabilized, no longer teetering on the edge of crisis, yet the atmosphere remained tense with uncertainty. Lily watched over her charge, wondering about the future. How long could this fragile balance last? The monkey's peaceful slumber belied the precariousness of its situation, each moment of stability a precious gift, yet shadowed by the question of its permanence. Dr. Llewellyn's conversation with Lily was frank and gentle. "You've done more than most could," he acknowledged, "but the monkey requires ongoing care that's beyond what an individual can provide." His words were a mirror reflecting the reality Lily had begun to suspect. Her will alone was not enough. The monkey's needs were now a map of a territory too vast for her to navigate alone, each need a landmark on a path that required more than she could give. In the quiet of the clinic's office, the vet laid out the options for the monkey's future. Sanctuaries, specialists in long-term care for exotic animals like her ward, were discussed. Lily listened, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Each option was a door, and behind each, a different future for the monkey unfolded. The conversation was heavy with the weight of decisions that carried far-reaching consequences, each word a step on a path that would soon diverge. Alone with the sleeping monkey, Lily allowed the gravity of her situation to wash over her. The vet's words echoed, the sound of a closing chapter. To surrender the monkey to a sanctuary felt like admitting defeat. Yet, wasn't it also an act of ultimate care? The thought was somber, a realization that sometimes love means letting go, that sometimes the best way to hold on is to place the beloved in hands more capable than one's own. The morning light brought a painful clarity. Lily had made her decision. She would follow Dr. Llewellyn's advice and prepare to part with the monkey. As she packed a small bag with the creature's favorite toys and the blanket that had warmed it on so many chilly nights, her movements were tender. Each item was a token of the journey they had shared. Accepting the vet's advice was the hardest thing she had ever done, yet she knew it was the most loving choice for the monkey's future. Dr. Llewellyn summoned Lily to his office with an air of urgency. The test results had revealed something unexpected. The monkey was not just any primate. It belonged to a rare species often targeted by traffickers for their exotic pet trade value. As he relayed the information, Lily saw the monkey not just as her rescue, but as a precious member of a dwindling line, its presence there a marvel and a mystery. The vet detailed the plight of the monkey species, their numbers dwindling in the wild, their value on the black market leading to their capture and sale. He spoke of the illegal pet trade's impact, the loss of natural habitat, the breaking of animal families, the cruelty of transportation and captivity. Lily listened, her mind reeling from the implications, her heart aching for the monkey and its kind. The revelation shed a new light on the vet's initial reaction during their first meeting. Lily recalled the shock on his face, a reflection of the gravity of the situation now laid bare. She understood his concern, the careful treatment, and his insistence on the best course of action. The monkey wasn't just a stray, it was a silent cry for help from a species disappearing before humanity's indifferent gaze. Knowledge is a catalyst, and for Lily it sparked a transformation. The monkey's welfare remained her goal, but now she was driven by a broader mission: preservation. She began to research, to reach out, to learn how she could contribute to the fight against the illegal trade that had brought the monkey to her city streets. Her journey with the monkey had become part of a larger story, one that she was now determined to help rewrite. As word of the monkey's rarity spread, it captured the public's interest. Animal rights groups, conservationists, and the media began to converge, drawn by the story of the small creature and the woman who had saved it. Lily found herself at the center of attention, her story a poignant narrative that highlighted a global issue. The monkey, once alone and unnoticed on a rainy street, had become an ambassador for its species. Its story was a call to action heard by many. Questions began to pour in as the story of the rare monkey reached a wider audience. Animal rights activists sought to understand how the monkey had come to be in the city, while law enforcement took an interest, pondering the channels through which such an animal could arrive unnoticed. Lily found herself recounting the tale time and again, her discovery now the subject of much scrutiny, each inquiry opening a door to further dialogue on wildlife conservation. The decision to surrender the monkey to those better equipped to care for it was an agonizing one for Lily. She had nurtured it back to health, felt its weight in her arms and its trust in her heart. But as she signed the papers that would transfer her companion to a sanctuary, she knew it was the right choice. The monkey needed more than she could provide, and love, Lily had learned, was sometimes letting go for the greater good. The sanctuary was a haven, lush with trees and filled with the calls of other primates. Lily watched as the monkey was introduced to an environment that mimicked its natural habitat. She saw the promise of a better life in the expert care the sanctuary provided, in the companionship of its own kind. There was a peace in this place that soothed Lily's aching heart, a sense of completion to the journey they had embarked on together. The monkey's plight resonated with many, stirring a collective consciousness. Lily used her voice to amplify the issue, speaking at events and to the media, transforming her personal story into a public message. The narrative of the monkey served as a poignant reminder of the consequences of the illegal pet trade, inspiring others to take notice and take action. Awareness was the new chapter written, a story of awakening and change. As Lily walked away from the sanctuary, the sounds of the forest behind her, she felt the bittersweet pangs of farewell. Her life had been irrevocably changed by the monkey, a creature that had come into her world as unexpectedly as a storm. Yet as she looked back one last time, she knew this was not an ending, but a beginning. The monkey's legacy would continue in the fight against the illegal trade, in every heart it had touched, and every action sparked by its journey. This was the end of their shared path, but the story they had started together would continue to unfold. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.